G'day and welcome to FriBaT, Friday Beers and Tools with Andy. Hope you've had a good week where you are. Been a busy week here for me. Today we're going to review an imported beer, the Molson Canadian Lager. Never had this one before, so let's see what it's like. Cheers. Not bad. It's a very traditional sort of lager taste. It's a little bit more hopsy than a lot of Australian lagers. Nothing bad about it. Drinkable. This is a true imported beer. It's actually brewed in Canada and imported by Coca-Cola Amatil. Each stubby, which I think is 345, might be 355 ml. Let me just put my glasses on and double check that. $355 is 5% alcohol, which is getting up there, and this then is 1.4 standard drinks in Australia. Doesn't say a lot about it. It says Canadian water, prairie barley. Okay. It's not a bad beer. I certainly wouldn't give up any of my Australian favourites to drink that. I don't know what its cost is per carton, as I only bought one to try it. Will I be buying it again? I don't think so. Out of my Spanners score, I reckon that's a 2 out of 5 Spanners. Alrighty, I'm going to change a little bit of tack today. Recently I purchased a 3D printer, and I'm going to show you a few of the prints that I've been creating with that. They are tools as far as I'm concerned. You already know my love affair with Milwaukee M12 tools, so I've found a few handy holders on a website called Thingiverse, which is where a whole heap of 3D designers will put up free to use, copyright free, although you can't make money from them. You're welcome to print them and make as many as you want for yourself. Designs and then print them out. The first one I'm going to show you is a 3D 3 battery holder for my M12 tools. Here's one with the batteries installed. I like order, and I like the fact that I can have my batteries stored in a holder, not rattling around in a drawer where they potentially could short out to each other. It is quite stiff to push the batteries in, but that's okay. It means that they don't easily fall out. It does have a mounting hole on the back. Probably the one good thing about these designs of prints is that if you're clever on a 3D designing program, you can actually modify things. You can make this into a 4 or a 5 holder. One thing I would probably do is probably put 2 mounts rather than a single one in the center. But so far, the print quality from my Ender 3 Pro is amazing. Don't know how well the GoPro will show this, but the quality on this is amazing, and they're very tough. They're very strong. So that's one of the projects that I've been doing. The next one is actually basically it's a mimic of a battery, but it's designed to hold your tool. So again, I don't like throwing tools into drawers. This is designed so that you can actually bolt this down onto a bench and you can have all of your tools ready to go. Another basic little print. I've made a number of these so far. The printer's been running fairly hot, and again, amazing performance. I'm trying a few different things with the settings, trying to speed up my prints slightly. Obviously it's not, the finish doesn't need to be perfect for a tool holder, but I do want the strength there. These are not solid, so when it prints in a 0.2 of a millimeter filament, I guess you'd say, or it extrudes a filament into a 0.2 millimeters, just like squeezing toothpaste out of a toothpaste holder, very accurately onto the surface. As a consequence, doing I think 3 of these prints took 13 hours for the printer to do that. So trying to work out how to improve the speed, sacrifice a little bit of quality in finish, but not strength and durability. One of the things is that, as I said, they're not solid. They have what is called infill, and it's a 3-dimensional cube that it prints inside, or multiple cubes, and you can vary that from 100%, so 100 solid piece of plastic, which of course would use a lot of filament, or you can set it to various different percentages of print. These were done at 20 or 30%. I'm just trying one at 10% to see how it goes. Because it prints it in a cube, I'll try and show you a little bit of video of one that's printing at the moment. To give you a better idea of how that internal cube framework works, but it's still quite strong. Not bad beer. Okay, last week I talked about my Makita wrist breaker impact wrench. A few weeks ago I saw on eBay looks very much like a Makita, don't worry about the battery, a Makita LXT impact wrench, much smaller of course than the wrist breaker, but it was advertised on eBay, and they claim that it can produce 520 Newton meters of torque. Again, if you watched last week, the wrist breaker can produce up to 1600 Newton meters of nut busting torque. I'm very skeptical of this, producing 520 Newton meters. I don't have a specific way of doing it. If you do a further search on YouTube, there are a couple of other channels that have done a little bit more scientific testing to see what sort of torque that they produce. This is a knockoff of a Makita DTW285Z, and the Makita claims only 280 Newton meters of torque. One of the amazing things is a genuine brushless motor. The internals probably aren't as well designed or made as a Makita, but it is fairly obvious a Chinese knockoff of the Makita of that model. It takes all of the Makita, albeit tightly, the Makita LXT batteries, and it has the battery indicator, plus also a button to produce 3 torque settings or speed settings. So it's on setting 1. No, that's setting 3. Setting 1. Doesn't give me any specs as to the RPM. Setting 2 and setting 3. One of the interesting things that Makita in their impact wrenches are now fitting is an auto stop function on the undo. So that was in the tightening mode. I've now switched it over to the undo. Has the same trigger mac or same type of trigger mac as the Makita, and if I hold down the button, it only goes so far and then stops. That's to stop overrun of undoing your bolts. I don't like Chinese knockoffs, and I only bought this just to do a FriBaT to show you, but also I was interested to see how it would compare to a genuine product. This cost me $55 Australian delivered. The genuine Makita DTW285Z is the cheapest I've found is $245. A massive difference. For a young person getting into the trade, I can see the appeal. It is a cheap tool. Will it last as long as a Makita? Probably not. It is a brushless motor, so therefore no sparking, and the brushless motor, there's nothing to wear with brushes, etc. And if you've already got some Makita tools, or even if you're buying the non-OEM batteries, it's a pretty good way of getting set up for $55. I have looked on eBay recently. As I said, I bought this probably 4 or 5 weeks ago. I've used it a couple of times and reasonably impressed with it. They're now up to $82.49. Where they get that pricing from, I don't know, on eBay. But they are still $51 on Wish with $24 delivery to the NT, which of course we're remote, so it's probably a lot dearer delivery up here. It is a 1/2-inch drive on the front, supposed 520 Newton meters of torque. I doubt that very much. A 1280 watt motor, up to 3000 RPM is the maximum speed that it will go. That's the specs that I could find on it. The build quality, the case has the same sort of rubberized grip as the other Makita tools that I've got. It feels very similar. The 1/2-inch drive is slightly different in design, and it's not quite as quiet. It has a cheaper sounding gearbox than the Makitas. But again, it's $55. I like buying quality tools. I don't like buying a tool, having it fail the second time I use it, and then going, oh well, it was only $50, I'll go and buy another one. That, for me as an old fella, I was taught to look after tools. I was taught to buy good quality tools and they'll look after you. Today, not so much. Good quality tools still are made to have a design life and are made to fail after a certain amount of time. That's why, I guess, if you're starting out and you've got very little cash, it could be a handy way to go. I don't know. I guess time will tell. I will use it a fair bit. It is much lighter than the wrist breaker, of course. I don't know what weight it is. I haven't weighed it. Kilo, something like that, with the battery. But for $55 odd delivered, I'm willing to give it a go and see what it's like. So that's the cheap knockoff, no-name brand. I shall call him George, from eBay. Looks almost identical to the Makita. The Chinese are very good at copying tools. There's no doubt about that. Half of the tools, Makita, DeWalt, etc., are now made in China. So quite possibly the same factory is churning these things out side by side with the name brand Makita on them. Who knows? Having said that, some of the Makita tools, like the wrist breaker, are still made in Japan, which is quite unusual. Some are made in China, genuine Makita, some are made in Japan. Anyway, that's the cheap Chinese knockoff Makita, in inverted commas, named George Impact on eBay. I'll put a link to it. 55 bucks. Give it a go. $55. Give it a go. Anyway, that's it for FriBaT this week. Hope you've enjoyed that. Please like, share and subscribe. Let me know in the comments if there's something that you'd like me to review, or if I've got it, I'll review it and show you. Please leave a comment. The feedback is fantastic. I love getting feedback. I try and respond to every single comment that's made. Also, I need to thank you, my subscribers. We achieved 200 subscribers last night, so I'm very excited about that, and that's awesome. Thank you very much. Anyway, that's it for today. Look forward to seeing you next week. I know the other content's been a little bit slow. I've had a fair bit of other things on my plate at the moment, but I hope to have some more content ready for you very soon. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you again.